Hey everybody, Barry Mankin here with Four Corners Home Inspections. We're just north of Nashville, Tennessee on a new build. And there's a few things that we're going to show you just some helpful tips this time, nothing crazy. We're going to look at the electric panel. We're here at the sub panel in the basement. This is where it's located right now. If you take a look, you see all those colors? That's all arc fault and ground fault protection at the panel. So, the reason we're going to talk about this is because in the kitchen, whenever we check those outlets for GFCI protection, it trips down here. Not as convenient. So it's part of the way everything's moving with the electric. It's all being located at the panel. Everything's being protected now, which is a good thing. However, just a note, you might not know that whenever you trip a breaker in your kitchen, it's going to be at the sub panel or the main panel. The other thing that I would argue is that when it's related to the refrigerator, typically that's always a dedicated circuit. In this particular case, it's not. Not a big fan of that. So I'm always going to argue that, you know, whether I'm wrong or right, but your local codes are going to dictate that. That's the bottom line. So always check with your local codes as it relates to a dedicated circuit for either your refrigerator in your kitchen with this type of circuitry, or even a deep freeze that you might have in the basement or a garage. That'll be subject to that as well, especially since any water source areas of the home are always going to have to be GFCI protected. So that's something to note from an electric standpoint. The other thing that we have here in this basement is the buyer wants to finish this out at some point. So he's going to have to obviously check with his local codes, be in compliance, get his inspectors out here to give him the clearances on that. The other thing that we're going to have to look at, though, is this outside wall. We're above the frost line. We have a walkout situation, and we have all these pipes for plumbing. There's a stubbed out bathroom that's not complete, and then the laundry. That's all going to be protected. All those water lines have to be protected because they're above that frost line. So we're going to ask that the builder protect all those lines with some insulation, and then obviously finish this flooring where the insulation isn't complete. Typical things like that. Now, the other thing, one of the most important things whenever you're going to finish the space out as it relates to HVAC, we do have our egress here. Well, we're going to have a bedroom on this side, so as long as this stays open, that egress will work. However, on this side here, what we're looking for is HVAC. So we are not... there's not a system down here for that. So both for your square footage from an advertising standpoint, if you're going to resell it, or just in a lived-in space, unless it's conditioned, you can't technically have that space be listed as square footage. So in here, we're always going to recommend that they're going to have a zone system. So actually you're putting a separate system in. You want to make sure that what you have is rated properly for your square footage as well, tonnage wise. So we're going to get a certified HVAC contractor in here. They're going to come through. They're going to measure out the square footage. They're going to talk about the layout for the way they have this central wall split down the middle, how to lay out that ductwork and the flume. So lot to do down here. And it takes a little bit of intention, a little expertise, but that's the way you do things right. So thank you so much for watching the video, and get a good inspection.